the city of Kochi, in the Indian state of Kerala. In May 2008, police raided an ashram named Santosh, meaning place of peace. What they found inside was deeply shocking. There were dozens of recorded discs, and when the police examined them, they discovered evidence of serious wrongdoing. Young girls, some very young, appeared in the recordings together with a man dressed in white, with a long beard. His name was Santosh Madhavan, but his followers called him Amritha Chaithanya, meaning immortal awareness. He was known as a spiritual teacher. People admired him. Film stars, business figures, and politicians came to visit, and he received large donations, living a life of comfort and privilege. But the recordings revealed something completely different, a hidden pattern of exploitation disguised under a ritual he called Nagna Puja, or ceremony without garments. Santosh Madhavan was arrested, tried in court, and sentenced to 16 years in prison. Yet this is not only the story of one man. It is the story of how false spiritual leaders in India have misused people's faith, taken advantage of trust, silenced those they harmed, and managed to avoid accountability for years. Kattapana, a small mountain town in Kerala. In 1960, Santosh Madhavan was born there into a poor family. His father, Madhavan, was an ordinary man. Childhood was difficult, there was no money, opportunities were few. Santosh went to school but did not succeed. He failed his 10th grade exams and did not know what to do next. He didn't want to be a burden on his family. At 16, he left home and set out on his own. The first years were very hard. He tried many jobs. He worked for a while at construction sites, then as a shop assistant. But nothing worked. He couldn't earn enough. His future looked uncertain. In the late 1980s, while traveling through different towns in Kerala, Santosh noticed something. People were hungry for spirituality. Gurus were popular. Ashrams were full. People followed spiritual teachers to hear their sermons, make donations, and seek blessings. And Santosh had an idea: why not become a guru himself? He could read and write, he spoke well, he could impress people, and there was money in it. A lot of money. Santosh created a new identity for himself. He was no longer Santosh Madhavan. He became Swami Amritha Chaithanya, the teacher of immortal awareness. He started wearing white robes, growing his hair and beard, and wearing prayer beads. His appearance was striking. The first days were difficult. No one knew who he was. But Santosh was patient. He traveled through small villages, giving speeches about simple ideas: karma, dharma, moksha, liberation. People listened. Some were impressed. He gathered a few followers. By the 1990s, Santosh was becoming known. He moved to Kochi, where bigger opportunities awaited. The city was wealthy, people had money, and the spirituality market was thriving. Santosh founded a trust called Santosh, Place of Peace. It was a legal organization, exempt from taxes. Donations to it were tax deductible. It was a clever move because wealthy people donated to save on taxes. Through the Santosh Trust, Santosh expanded his operations. He built an ashram in the Kadavanthra area, a wealthy neighborhood. Inside, there were 16 suites, each one elegant, furnished with expensive furniture, air conditioning, and modern bathrooms. It didn't look like a traditional ashram. It looked more like a luxury hotel. For himself, Santosh had a private apartment, the Royal Stadium Mansion apartment on Market Road, one of the most expensive areas in Kochi. It was his personal palace. His followers stayed in the ashram while he lived in luxury. By the early 2000s, Santosh was famous. Film stars visited the ashram. Politicians came to meet him. Photos were taken, published in newspapers, and these public images increased his credibility. People thought, if such important figures believe in him, he must be trustworthy. Santosh began collecting large amounts of money. Donations poured in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of rupees given for blessings, for cleansing of sins, to be closer to the divine. But Santosh used this money for luxury. Expensive cars, designer clothes, lavish feasts. Yet outwardly he maintained the image of a simple spiritual man. In 2002, something happened. An Indian woman living in Dubai named Seraphin Edwin asked Santosh for help. He told her, "I can invest your money and multiply it." She believed him and gave him 400,000 dirhams, around $110,000. But the money never came back. Santosh kept giving excuses. "Wait a little longer. The investment is not ready yet." Months passed. The woman grew suspicious and went to the police to file a complaint. In 2004, Interpol issued a warrant for Santosh Madhavan for financial fraud. He became an internationally wanted man. But Santosh was in India, hiding. The police searched for him but couldn't find him because he had powerful connections, politicians, police officers, business leaders all protecting him. Sometimes through bribery, sometimes influence, sometimes intimidation. Santosh continued his comfortable life. His ashram grew, his followers increased, the money kept flowing. But in 2008, everything changed. May 8, 2008, the Kerala Police Crime Branch prepared an operation targeting Santhathiram Ashram after receiving a serious complaint. Officers entered the property. Santosh was absent, but staff members and several frightened young girls were inside. The police began a detailed search, checking every room, closet, and drawer until they discovered a hidden compartment built into a wall. Inside were dozens of unmarked discs labeled only with numbers: CD1, CD2, CD3. The officers collected them, returned to the station, and began reviewing the material. What they found showed clear evidence of serious misconduct and manipulation involving Santosh Madhavan and minors. Each disc showed the same pattern: different children, the same man, the same deceptive ritual he called Nagna Puja, presented as a sacred ceremony. Investigators realized this was a long-running and organized pattern of exploitation. They then asked, who were these girls and where had they come from? The answer soon emerged. The children were from a home operated by the Santhathiram Trust, a place described publicly as an orphanage for underprivileged girls. Santosh had told donors he was running a charity that provided food, shelter, and education. People admired him for this and donated generously. But the truth was far darker. Santosh was using the institution to find vulnerable children for his own benefit. His method was calculated. He selected the most defenseless, those without families, those who were shy and afraid. He would tell them, "You are special. God has chosen you. I will give you private spiritual lessons, but no one must know. It is our sacred secret." The girls believed him. To them, the guru was like a divine figure whose words could not be questioned. Santosh took them to his private room under the pretense of giving them special instruction. When the sessions ended, he threatened them with curses and misfortune if they ever spoke about it, saying terrible things would happen to them or their families. This was the full scale of the case the Kerala police uncovered. A man who had turned faith into a tool of control and fear, manipulating trust under the mask of spirituality. The girl was frightened, ashamed, and filled with guilt. She couldn't tell anyone what had happened. Sometimes other staff members at the orphanage grew suspicious. Why does the guru call certain girls to his private room? But they were silenced. Whatever the guru does is right. Don't question it. And so it continued for years, from 2002 to 2008, at least 6 long years. No one knows exactly how many girls were affected. The discs showed at least 10 to 12 different children, but there may have been more. Some recordings could have been destroyed. On May 18, 2008, the police finally found Santosh hiding near Kochi. He was arrested, handcuffed, and taken to the station. Immediately he began pretending to be ill. "I have chest pain," he said. "I'm having a heart attack." An ambulance was called, and he was taken to the hospital, but after examination, doctors confirmed he was perfectly fine. It was just an act. During questioning, Santosh denied everything. "I'm innocent. This is a conspiracy. My rivals are jealous and trying to frame me," he insisted. but the evidence was undeniable. His face was clearly visible in the recordings. His voice could be heard. There was no way to deny it. The police then began searching for the victims, but it wasn't easy. Many were still too afraid to speak. Santosh's threats had worked. They believed something terrible would happen if they talked. Finally, one girl, 14 years old, found the courage to come forward. Her name was kept secret, but she gave a full statement describing how she had been deceived, manipulated, and silenced. Then another girl, 12 years old, came forward too. Her story matched the same method, the same fear, the same threats. With their testimonies, along with the recordings and medical reports, the police had built a strong case. Everything pointed to Santosh. May 20th, 2009. The Ernakulam Court. The judge was ready to announce the verdict. The courtroom was full. Journalists, lawyers, and the families of the victims all waited in silence. The judge began to speak. The accused, Santosh Madhavan, is found guilty under Section 342 of the Indian Penal Code, wrongful confinement, and Section 376, sexual assault. The room went quiet. For Section 342, 3 months of simple imprisonment. For Section 376, 8 years of rigorous imprisonment, plus a fine of 210,000 rupees. If the fine is not paid, 1 additional year of imprisonment. This was the first conviction. But there were other cases, other victims. The second case involved another girl, 12 years old, with similar charges. The court again found him guilty another 8 years. In total, 16 years in prison. Santosh's lawyers appealed. The CDs cannot be trusted as evidence. They might have been edited. Audio and video identification are unreliable, but the court rejected the argument. The recordings clearly showed Santosh. Facial features matched. Voice analysis confirmed it. The victims had identified him as well. There was no doubt. In one case, Santosh was acquitted because the victim changed her statement. She became a hostile witness, perhaps due to fear or money. No one knew for sure. But the total sentence remained 16 years. In 2013, the Kerala High Court reviewed the appeal. Santosh's lawyers again argued the victims' testimonies are inconsistent. The discs are questionable, the investigation was flawed, but Justice P. Bhavadasan ruled minor inconsistencies in testimony do not affect the substance of the case. The lower court's decision stands. Sentence upheld. Santosh was transferred to Pujapura Central Prison, one of the largest in Kerala. But prison life was not difficult for him. Reports surfaced claiming he was receiving VIP treatment, a private cell, better food, and special visitor privileges. He still had powerful connections outside. Money kept coming in. Some officials were allegedly bribed. As years passed, Santosh's health began to decline. Heart problems, high blood pressure, and diabetes emerged. On March 6, 2024, he was admitted to the hospital with chest pain and breathing difficulty. Doctors tried to save him, but it was too late. He died of heart failure at 11:05 a.m. He was 63 years old. He had served only part of his 16-year sentence before being released early due to medical reasons. The news spread quickly. Controversial guru Santosh Madhavan dies. Some expressed sympathy. He was misunderstood. But most people felt relief. Finally, it's over. The story of Santosh Madhavan is not just the story of one man. It is the story of how false spiritual leaders in India have systematically taken advantage of people, especially vulnerable children. Asaram Bapu, convicted for abusing a 16-year-old girl, sentenced to life imprisonment in 2018, and again in 2023 for another case. Gurmeet Ram Rahim, found guilty of assaulting 2 women, sentenced to 20 years in prison, later given a life sentence for ordering a journalist's murder. Nithyananda, accused of similar crimes but fled before arrest, now claims to have founded a so-called nation on a private island called Kailasa. Falahari Baba, sentenced to life imprisonment for exploiting a 21-year-old woman. The pattern is always the same. A charismatic leader appears, saying, "I am chosen. I am God's messenger," people believe. Trust grows, donations pour in, power expands. And then, abuse begins. Why does it happen? Because in India, gurus are rarely questioned. The culture says, "Guru is God." Asking questions is seen as sin. Criticizing is seen as disrespect. At Santosh's orphanage, some workers suspected something was wrong, but they stayed silent. Maybe the guru knows better. Maybe we just don't understand second vulnerable victims. Santosh specifically chose orphaned girls because they had no protection, no families to defend them. They could be silenced easily. Third, religious manipulation. "This is Nagna Puja, a sacred ritual," he said. The girls believed him because he was their guru, the one they trusted. Fourth, threats. "God will curse you. Something bad will happen to your family." The girls were terrified and kept quiet. Fifth, systemic failure. Santosh had been wanted by Interpol since 2004, but Indian police didn't arrest him until 2008. Why? Because he had powerful connections, politicians, police, businessmen. He paid bribes. He had photos with influential people. So what is the solution? Education. Children must be taught. No one should touch you inappropriately. If anyone ever does, tell someone you trust immediately. Families need awareness. Ashrams must be inspected regularly, especially those that shelter children. Legal reform. Cases involving child abuse must be handled faster, and victims must be protected. Some of Santosh's victims were too afraid to testify. Others changed their statements under pressure because the system failed to protect them. Media responsibility. These stories make big headlines when they break, but then they disappear. No one follows up. Santosh was convicted in 2009, but continued receiving VIP treatment in prison until 2024. Why didn't the media keep watch? Is the situation changing in 2025? A little. Courts are now convicting gurus. Journalists are exposing them. But is it enough? Not yet. There are still thousands of ashrams. Millions still follow their gurus without question. Santosh Madhavan is dead. But there are others like him, men hiding behind the same mask of holiness. Santosh called himself Amritha Chaithanya, the immortal consciousness. In reality, he was a predator who destroyed lives. He is gone now, but his victims remain living with the pain he caused. The lesson is simple. Never trust blindly. Gurus are humans, not gods. Always question. Protect your children. And if something feels wrong, speak up.